open chain. When you talk about ring chain na beta, okay, everyone, check out if it is C5H10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, correct, with a double bond, then this will be one of the isomers, okay. Now, when you compare a straight chain and any of the cyclic chain, we strictly call them as ring chain isomers. Right? I forgot to mention that yesterday. So I would suggest all of you make a note on that. If you have a straight chain and any of this is considered with this one, like these two, these two, these two, these two, or these two, we call them as strictly ring chain isomers. Alright, and that should be given the highest priority as per the questions given. So if ring chain is being given in the option, that would be strictly ring chain isomers. If ring chain is given, because they are separately categorized as ring chain isomers, okay. So when you have aliphatic and cyclic comparison, always take aliphatic and cyclic as ring chain isomers. I can say AB are chain isomers as well as functional isomers. Same way BC are chain isomers, functional isomers. Now when it comes to C and D, they are not chain isomers. They are not functional isomers, they are only positional isomers. D and D are chain isomers, correct. Only chain isomers, not functional isomers. Because
Yes.
here only the skeleton number is varying, we can always judge them as chain isomer. We'll do more examples. I think that will give you a lot of clarity. But as of now, main difference which you need to understand is ring chain isomer. So I put some prefixes here. Everybody see that so that this case shouldn't go wrong again and again. These type of questions we should be very clear. Check out. In complex naming, I'll just take 5 minutes and then we'll go ahead. See, when you have a complex naming, we usually write it in brackets. And when the minute you write anything in bracket, you have to start with the first alphabet comparisons. All right. And this is an IUPAC name also, but this is more preferred IUPAC name. So if you see on third position, this is third position. On third position, I have isopropyl group, which can be written as 1-methyl ethyl heptane. Okay. Suppose if this is a principal chain on which these type of complex groups are present, then how do we name it? See, the numbering should always start from the free valency carbon, which is directly connected to the principal chain. We should always start from that carbon only for numbering. So 1, 2, that's how the numbering should be. And on that carbon, if there is any methyl group, you will write it as 1-methyl ethyl. Okay. Same way here, if you check out, it is 1, 2, 3, 2-dimethyl ethyl. Okay. So here it is 2, 2 dimethyl propyl, not ethyl propyl. Okay. Same way here, if you check out, we have 1, 2, and then 1 and on 1 I have dimethyl ethyl. Here it is 1, 2, 3. On second I have methyl, so 2-methyl propyl. Now even if you have chlorine bromine like this, the numbering should always start from the free valency which is connected to the principal chain. So numbering should be from here only. But while writing, you will write it in alphabetical order. That is 2 bromo, 1 chloro, ethyl. I hope all of you understood how to write the substituted chains, complex names. Now, while writing the in case if these two kinds are repeated, like this is repeated twice, then I will use the term bis, tris, and so on. And that should not be included in alphabetical order. I gave you this line before also, that when you have bis, tris, we do not use that in alphabetical comparison. Whichever be the first alphabet in this complex, we have to use that name. For example, given any question, the first thing I will do is select the parent chain. Second thing is to number based upon the locants, lowest locants. Third is naming the side chain. Here on the fourth carbon, I have isopropyl. So it is supposed to be diisopropyl. But when you write it in a complex form, it is already having a methyl also, ethyl also. Now you will not use it as di, we will use it as bis. So at fourth carbon and fourth carbon. Here I have 1-methyl ethyl repeated structure, and that would be heptane as a principal chain. Okay. This is a simple example. I think we have done this before. Now check out this example. Suppose if you have on fifth carbon, if you observe, it is a tert-butyl group. Here it is isopropyl group. While writing the complex naming, isopropyl will become 1-methyl ethyl. While writing the tert-butyl, it would become dimethyl ethyl. Become dimethyl ethyl. So while comparing the alphabetical order, you will compare this D and M. Okay, you will not compare this E and M. Okay, you will compare D and this M. All right. So what would be the name here now? For this second one, check out. On fifth carbon, I have this 1,1-dimethyl ethyl. On fourth carbon, I have 1-methyl ethyl. So fifth carbon, 1,1-dimethyl ethyl, and 4,1-methyl ethyl decane. So the compound was something like this. We had methyl, then there are two carbons, then there is one more carbon on which there is isopropyl, then there is one more carbon on which there is methyl, then there is one more carbon on which we have ethyl, ethyl, ethyl. This is the way it was. We started numbering from this end: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So it is ethyl and ethyl on third position. So it is 3,3-diethyl, and on fourth position there is methyl. So I'll just write down all the substituents first here: 3, 3 diethyl, and on the fifth carbon I have 1-methyl ethyl. This is the comparison. So while comparing here, I have to compare E because it is in an open chain. There is no complex chain here, and this is also not a complex chain. So M I should compare, and here also I should compare M. All right. So yesterday we were more focusing on these two, correct? We were discussing on these two. We forgot that methyl should come first because there is no ending name for this. So methyl has already ended here, but this methyl is still continuing. So 4-methyl should come first. So I think this is where it will go wrong. So this should come first, and this should come next. See the next case. This was in WTM, which was on Saturday. This question had come: IUPAC name of following. Okay. While numbering, a lot of students had made mistakes. See, we can go this way: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we go this way, the COH numbering is coming at which position here? It's coming at first position and fourth position and sixth position. Got it? This is where the numbering is coming out to be. Okay. And on second position, I have ethyl group. Got it? Now, in the case, if you go from this end, COOH, let me take the other color. So if I go this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Okay. If I go this way, the COH numbering is coming at one position, third position, sixth position, and fifth position. See, these three are functional groups, correct? So the priority of functional groups should be more preferred rather than the substituents. Got it? Because while writing this one, we are considering them as a functional group only, no? And then we are giving the lowest priority as 1, 2, 3, and then we write it as tricarboxylic. That's why if you consider between these two, if you go from this red one side, so I think it should be 1, 3, 6, then 5 should come at the ethyl position. I mean, ethyl should come at this fifth position. Right? So this is more preferred numbering rather than this one. Continue with that in your book. So yesterday we saw a few cases of, DBE, double bond equivalent or DOU being 1 with single oxygen. Single oxygen. So if you have single oxygen, we saw the cases like C3H6O, right? In that case, what all the types of functional groups we have come across? So we came across aldehydes, ketones, we came across cyclic ethers, then we have enols, right? And unsaturated ethers. These are all the possible functional groups which you can get in case if you have single oxygen. Now, if you have multiple oxygen, like if you have two oxygens, what are the other functional groups which you can get? Next, if you have one DOU and we have two oxygen groups, for example, if I take C4H8O2. Now, in this case, you can figure it out that DOU is 1 and there are two oxygens. So what we can write? We can write acids, we can write esters, alright, we can write aldehydes, ketones, but this aldehyde, what you are writing, that will consume over the double bond. So we should have one OH group. Somewhere there should be OH group or ether group. So it will be hydroxyaldehyde or hydroxy ketone and so on. So a lot of groups would come. Now the questions usually from this area would be asked like, if you have these cases, find out all the acids and esters. This is the cases which is asked. Exclude any form of carbonyl groups or alcohol groups. So let me write that as an example now. Find the total number of isomers for C4H8O2 excluding carbonyl compounds, alcohols, ethers and cyclic ethers. Alcohols include cyclic alcohols also. Now please everyone, you just have to check out for acids, you have to check out for esters because acids and esters can be interconverted. We have total of 4 carbons here with C double bond OH. This is the one which you can get. The other form is C double bond OH with methyl group here. So only these you would get. Now we will check esters. Esters starts with a methanoate, okay? First I can have 3 carbons here and C double bond. And another methanoate HC double bond O with isopropyl group. These two. Then start with ethanoate CH3 C double bond O C2H5. Okay. And then start with propanoate CH3 CH2 C double bond O. Total number of isomers for, okay, and excluding carbonyl. See, carbonyl means aldehydes and ketones, alcohols and ethers, any form of ethers. Exclude all of them. So basically you have to check out acid and esters only. So please check acid and esters in this. One is this one. 1 minute. I have CH3COH. Okay, I have to write this as C8. Please correct that. C8H8O2. So one acid with one CH3 here and keep moving that CH3 on different positions and here. These three you will definitely get. Now think in terms of esters. So I'll put the benzene the way it is. C double bond O CH3. So this has become benzoate. I can change these two, CH3 and phenyl. So I'll get this as CH3 C double bond O and phenyl. So if I change this, I'll get both these esters. Both these esters are different. And if I change this CH3 to methanoid, then I'll get this as H, C double bond O, O with benzene with phenyl group here, and methyl can run on all three positions. So I'll show it here, showing that ortho, meta, para. So I can have all those three. One more thing which I can have is H, C double bond O, O, CH2 connected this way.
Sir, cyclic
Ah,
esters,
what beta?
cyclic esters can
Cyclic?
nothing. Cyclic esters can be counted here.
You cannot get cyclic ester, na beta. Check out the degree of unsaturation. I need to
Yes.
get, right? I need to get acids and esters. So if you take ester, you are already consuming 1 degree of unsaturation. Ah, right. I forgot that, right? I didn't write. Thank you. COH, correct. Now count it, everybody. How many you should get? The answer should be 10. Check out. Everybody got that?
Sir,
Yes, beta.
carbonyl compounds means aldehydes, sir.
Aldehydes and ketones. The
Okay,
family
sir.
of aldehydes and ketones are called carbonyl compounds. Finished, everyone? Right. I'll give you a list of the compounds now. Yes.
So this fourth one and sixth one are considered as functional isomers, sir, or position?
Fourth one and sixth one. These two.
So
We are yet to come there. These are called metamers. That is our next topic.
they can't be functional, sir.
That is considered as metamer, separate category of isomers. We are going to discuss now. But I hope all of you understood how to write the acid form. Mostly students miss out on esters, methanoids. Usually I always see that this is the part which most of the students miss out. Okay. So be aware that methanoate is also an ester. Next. Given compounds, you have to figure out what is the relation they carry. Okay, I gave you the similar questions in assignment also. Just check few of them. So identify given isomers. Keep walking along with me, everybody. I have OH here. Group this one. So we just have to write down what is the relation between A and B. Alright. So keep doing like that. I'll put few examples. You have to write down. Okay, students, tell me about the first one. How they are related to each other. Functional. Next. AB. Between these two. Because this has become aldehyde, this has become ketone. So this would become functional. Next. AC. AC is also functional. Very good. BC. Chain. Very good. Functional. Okay. Why? This is like a cyclic ether. Okay. With aldehydes on both the sides. But this is an, what is this one? This is like an ester form with aldehyde group, keto group here. Okay. Oxo group here. So A, B are different functional groups. So let us also grade what kind of a priority this would be. This is an, this is an ketone. So you can see this is like a diketone form with an oxo group in between. While here, if you check out, this is an ester. So the main functional group here is ester. While here, what is the functional group, beta? This is anhydride. Very good. Okay. Acid anhydride, right? So AB are functional, AC are functional, BC are functional. Very good. Next, fourth one, fourth null, functional as well. Fifth one, ABC. How they are related to each other? They are also functional. Okay, because primary amine, those who are still don't have a clarity, please make sure you write it down. Primary amine, secondary amine, tertiary amine are always functional isomers to each other. I guess that is clear. All of you must have noted this. Okay, I'm continuing the next one now. Sign it here. So A, B, C. A, B, A, C, B, C. Keep doing it. Don't talk. Well, I'll ask you, then you can speak out. AB are functional. AC, identical, or just a homolog. See, you'll say homolog when there is some CH2 is continuing better. Okay, got it? So as of now, just they are identical. Next, BC, AB, functional. What is a function? Now tell me in A, what is the dominant function here? Phenol. Now here, what is the dominant function here? Aldehyde, yes, that is the aldehyde which is more dominant here. So this is how it is. So the functional group you're looking at is aldehydes. Next one, which is the functional which is dominant here? Carboxylic acid. Very good. So that should be carboxylic acid. So AB are functional. Very good. ACR functional. BCR functional. Correct. Okay. Now one important note. See, usually where we make mistakes, if we have nitro, that is N double bond O and this, and we have nitrite connection would be like this with O and double bond O. The connection is this way. Okay, what should we both regard them as? These two are also functional isomers. So if nitro is compared with nitrite, then we consider them as functional isomers. First of all, metamers is a type of isomerism which is shown by bivalent or polyvalent, functional groups only. Okay. So for example, if you have O and O, what is this one? This is a bivalent, correct? It is ether. On both sides, if there is alkyl group, that will become ether. Similarly, C double bond O and both sides. What do we get this one? Ketone. Then C double bond O with O connection. What is this one? Ester. Okay. Next, NH this way. What is this one? Secondary amine. Check out carefully. It is 2-degree amine. Okay. Then we have N and this one. What is this one? This is a 3-degree amine. Yes. S double bond O, O and this side. This is sulfonate, correct? Or sulfoester. Now these are the groups which will give the metamerism. Okay. So those who are not aware of the functional groups, keep writing with me. These are ethers. These are ketones. These are esters. Okay. 2-degree amines. 3-degree amine. Now groups which does not show. Okay. Definitely groups which does not show metamerism are all the terminal ones like OH. This is terminal, CHO, correct? COOH, which means the terminal in a sense they do not have any other connection on the right hand side. So you can see NH2, SO3H. Please put it in the list, everyone. Okay. So this group does not show metamerism. Okay. Now what exactly are the terms metamerism does? You know, these metamers have same functional group. See, the functional group should not change, but they will have different alkyl groups on either side of functional group. So if we have different group on either side of functional group, then we call them as metamers. As everybody wrote this, let me show you with an example. Suppose if you have C4H10O and I'm asking to write only ethers, alright, then the type of ethers which I'll get is this one. Let me call this as A, B and C. Right, so I hope all of you have written so far. Now focus here. Now when I say A and B, how they are related to each other as a set, or A or C and B and C, we're trying to check out how their relations are. If you consider A and B here, left side I have two alkyl groups, right side I have two alkyl groups. Here left side I have one alkyl group, right side I have three alkyl groups. So what can I call about A and B beta? The minute you have different alkyl groups on left side and right side, either of the sides, then we call them as metamers. See, the functional group has not disturbed. It is still an ether only. Only thing is alkyl group has changed. Now you might think, okay, wait a minute, beta. You might think that there is 2 carbon chain here. Sir, now it has become 3 carbon chain. So shouldn't we consider it as chain? Again, the priority. Okay. When it comes to metamers, position and chain, okay, priority order, check it out. Priority order, okay, metamers are most considered, then chain, then position. Okay, if you are finding a metamerism, you will always give the first preference to metamerism only. In options, you will only take metamers, not chain. Beta, now tell me, metamers only. Left side there are 2, right side there are 2 of them. Here left side there is 1, right side there are 3 of them. So definitely they are metamers. Positional, very good. Now they are positional. Okay, why? Check carefully, beta. It is methoxypropane. Everyone, this is 1-methoxypropane. Chain is same, na? Chain is not changing, na, beta? Chain is still 3 only. Correct? See, if chain is also changing, position is also changing, then we'll give priority to chain. Understood? Now, once you decide metamer, okay, how can that be functional? Because metamer itself defines that it is for this same functional group. So that cannot be functional isomers, not dear. B and C. B and C have same chain length. It is propane. This is also propane. That is also same, na? This is also methoxy. This is also methoxy. It is not changing. Substitute is also not changing. Main chain is also not changing. Then you call it as chain position only, na? Only position is changing. If, remember this, if either the substitution changes or the main chain changes, then you call it as chain isomer. See, the next question is about ketones. Suppose if I take C5H10O and I want to write only the keto forms of it. So what are the options I can make? I can make this ketone. I can make this ketone. I can make this ketone. Alright. Any other ketone I can make? One. No, all ketones are done. Only these 3 ketones I can make. So let me write this as A, B, C. Please tell me the relation between AB, AC and BC. Everyone. Okay. Now check it out. A, B. First, while comparing, this is a polycarbon functional group here. So definitely left side and right side I will compare the alkyl groups. Left side there is only 1, right side there is 3. Left side 2, right side 2. So definitely these are metamers. But what you are observing is when it comes to this chain is not changing at all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only the position of ketone is changing. Correct? So it is a metamer as well as positional also. But which is more priority? Metamers. Single correct option, you will go for metamers. Multi-correct, now you will take both, everybody. This has been a very, very important question in JEE. If it is given in a multi-correct question, you will always take metamers as well as positional. Don't do that mistake in the case of ethers. Ethers, you won't get that type of a form. You will get this type of a form only in ketones, where the metamers are also acting like positional. A and C, left side there is only one, right side there are three, left side one, right side three. So alkyl groups are same. So can we take metamers? No. So now A and C should only be positional. Now the question is it positional or chain? Yes. Okay. Because see, the chain length has changed, beta. 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4. So it should be chain metamers. Okay, got it. Now when it comes to metamers, even in the multi-correct, you will not choose chain, you will not choose positional. Okay, no and no. Correct, beta. But metamers is defined such a way, metamer is specifically defined for these cases. Now, so we have metamers already. Understood? No. You should only choose metamers in this case. Okay. Next, we'll do for secondary amine. No, if we have 2-degree amines. Suppose if I give you this way, this one, NH, this one, and NH, this one. Okay. A, B, C. AB, AC, and BC. Tell me. Okay, keep fighting for some time and then give me a correct answer. Chalo, see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. This is N-methyl. Okay, I'm writing the name now. Then you decide. Okay. This is N-methyl propanamine. This is N-methyl propan 2-amine. Now decide what is BC, everyone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, correct. Chain is also changing here. I'm saying they are strict metamers, which is not the case here. Na? Even suppose if there is no definition of metamers, it will still fit into the positional isomers case, correct? But in the case of B and C, it is strictly fitting into the definition of metamers. So that's why I'm saying give more priority to metamers. Okay. And again, it's a matter of debate. There are certain questions where chain was not considered. That's why I'm saying go with the history of JE questions. Okay. Yes, wait. Come again. Any one of you, tell me. Okay. Let me confirm you with an example now. Okay, I'll keep it on hold. Okay. During working, I'll just remind you once again. Okay, with some examples. As of now, keep it metamers, everybody. In case if I find any question where they have considered as chain, I'll put that and we'll discuss it. Okay. Shall we go ahead? Okay. I'll give you a few compounds. Now check out whether they are metamers or not. Okay. So give the heading. Identify the metamers. Identify the metamer. Take these questions and check whether they are metamers or not. Yes, they are metamers. Yes, beta. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I think I must have missed one alkyl. Yeah, I missed one alkyl group here. Yeah. Next one. First one is fine. Second one. Identical. Very good. Good. So these are identical. Next, third one. Metamers. Okay. This is also an ester form. This is also an ester form. Okay. This may be an alkyl ester, this may be an aromatic ester, but still an ester functional group. Next, here, correct. With this, because this is also sulfonic ester. This is with what do you say, aryl sulfonic ester, which means aromatic sulfonic ester. This is alkyl sulfonic ester, but nevertheless, both of them are same functional group. Next, last one. Right, so there, that is also metamer with respect to, correct. So left hand side and right hand side, if you compare, they are also metamers only. Third one, this one beta. See, this is an benzoate, correct? This is benzoate. This is with that phenyl ring, COO, some R group. So this is a benzoate form, which means this is an ester only, no? Functional group wise, this is ester only. Here also, this is an ester only. Correct. Only thing is this is alkyl ester, this is an aryl ester, that is aromatic ester, but both of them are same functional groups. Okay, dear? No beta, no. Okay, that's why I was giving you that example, so that you should not confuse with it. You should consider them as metamers. Clear on that, everybody? Right. Next one is a ring chain isomers. Ring chain isomers. We have discussed this as one particular case in the last class, correct? Here, the idea is we should have same molecular formula, but different ring and chain forms. Okay. We take one example. Suppose if we have this form and this, these two are ring chain isomers. Ring chain isomers. Got it? They are functional groups also. They are functional groups as well, but that is less priority given. Functional isomers as well. Second thing, same way, if you consider this one, and this one. Okay, let me consider this as P, Q, and R. Now let us check PQ, QR, and PR. How they are related with each other. Tell me about it. Ring chain, very good. QR, correct. So functional or chain. Got it. So functional isomers or chain also. But which is more preferred? Functional is more preferred. Got it. Next, PR. So I think all of you clear with that. Okay. Now, in last 8 years in JEE, there has always been the questions which are about total number of compounds, especially when you have this ring form. Okay. So let us focus on those JEE questions now. Has everybody written this ring chain isomers? Hope so. Let's see. So in ring chain isomers, you would be asked, instead of only ring chain isomers, if you were asked, what are the total number of isomers that you can get? All right, so check out this. First one. Example 1. Find total number of isomers for C4H8. Got it? Which means that includes straight chain also, that include ring chain also. Okay, one I'll do. Second one you can try that. See. First, what I will do now, beta. First thing I'll check out is degree of unsaturation. So degree of unsaturation, I have given you different formulas to calculate. I can do this as 5 minus 8 by 2. So which is 1. This is one way of doing it. That is C plus 1 minus number of hydrogens by 2. Or 2n plus 2 minus number of hydrogens by 2. So either ways you can calculate and check out degree of unsaturation. Which means one means there should be at least one double bond if it is in straight chain. So therefore I can have this one. I can have this one. This one. 5 beta. Let us see. Correct. So these three should be in the main chain. Alicyclic. Next is about ring form. I can get this as one ring form and this as the other ring form. So total, how many we got? 5 of them. All right, everyone. This was a JE question, okay, advanced question, just to find out the number of isomers. Similarly, find total number of isomers for C5H10. So it is C5H10. I'll help you with the DOU, rest structures you have to do. So degree of unsaturation is again 1. Try this, how many you can get. Those who are able to get that, good. Those who haven't, just check once again if you are getting the right numbers here. Double bond here. I can make one double bond here and one double bond here. These are the 5 different aliphatic ones. Now coming to the ring forms. First, cyclopentane. Second, I'll keep decreasing the ring size. Then I would have this one, which can be written in this format or can be written in this format. So I got total, how many you're getting? 10. I hope all of you got that. Both options. If multiple correct is given, both options are correct. PQ, ring chain and functional beta. Okay, ring chain is more preferred than functional. So if it is in multiple correct, both should be opted. Check out on the third question. Now hope so that you do this right. Okay, this was 2016 question. Total number of isomers for C4H6 now. So check out the DOU and see how many you can get. This was an integer type question which most of the students did it wrong. Okay. Right. I'm not asking only ring. If you're thinking only ring, no, I'm asking everything, right? Correct. Okay. DOU is 2. I think all of you must have got that. First, what do you do, beta? No. Oh, that was the only option left now, right? So that should be 9. Check. So first we have, 4 carbons. So let me just write triple bond. This is the one which you have. Triple bond can be terminal or substituted, which means these two. These two are the triple bonds. Double forms, how many I can write? I can write this as double bond and double bond distributed here, and 2 double bond distributed this way. These two, right, everyone? Any other 4 2 double bond cases you can get? I don't think so. You won't get any other cases. Check. These are the 4 ones. Then what do we have? Ring forms. First, I'll start with 4. Isobutane form. Okay. Here, how do you place 2 double bonds, beta? We cannot place 2 double bonds, no? If you place double bond here, I cannot make one more double bond, correct? I can have double bond here, methyl here. I can have double bond here and methyl here. Check. So far clear? The last one usually, I have seen people forget is this one. All right, I can have bicyclo also. So total how many? Count it. Butene, this one, and bicyclo. Functional. Okay. One chain and one ring and 2 rings. If you compare, they are functional always. Right, everyone? Okay. So this is the third question. Let us do the next one more JE question now. Okay. Right now. Number of monobromo derivatives possible for 2-methyl 2-methylheptane. 2-methylheptane. So you have to write only one bromine. You have to substitute on 2-methylheptane. So these type of questions are familiar, where as you go ahead, you learn in mechanism something called free radical mechanism. So during free radical mechanism, we expect these type of products. So in this chapter, you need to figure out how many. Question I'm putting is only structural kind, not stereo. So let's see this. First of all, we'll put this one 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, this is the way this structure is 2-methylheptane. Okay. So 2-methylheptane, I will copy few this of that, and let's see how many I can get at different location of bromine. Okay, now first I'll start from here. Br, one Br here, next Br here, third Br here, okay, fourth Br here, fifth Br here, sixth Br here. Okay, next seventh Br here. Okay, next if you put eighth Br here, this would be same, na? Both of them are same. Not that you have to write all the structures. This is for the practice. First of all, because you're doing it for the first time, you need to know where exactly the bromine can be placed. Once you know, next time I'll just show you the positions where all it can come. 7, check. I think all of you got this. So the number of monoderivatives possible for 2-methylheptane is 7. To do this, number of isomeric dichloro, number of isomeric dichloro products. Again, a JEE question. You must be able to do this. This time dichloro, beta. Okay, so 2 chlorines you have to place on propane. What are the possible ways you can do? Check out. Don't rush to answers. Check once again. 4, right. Okay. So this is propane. Okay. See, instead of writing all the structures, what I would do? Where all chlorines I can place 1, 1. This is one I can place. 2, 2 I can place. 1, 2 I can place. 1, 3 I can place. 3, 3 is same as 1, 1, right? So I should not be placing that. So these are the 4 distinct ways to put it. Right. So while doing the rough work, you don't have to draw all the structures. Just go with the numbering and see whether you have done it correctly or not. Okay. Everybody got that? Right. The next question. Number of dihalo products possible for N-butane and isobutane. N-butane and isobutane. Fast. How do I do this? First draw the structure, that's all, like this, and then do it. Don't have to draw all the structures. What did I tell you? Just write down the numbering and check out. Give me the answer for both of them. Everybody got that? Check out. Let me show you. 1, 1. This is where I can place 2 halogens. 2, 2 I can place, right? Next 1, 2 I can place, and 1, 3 I can place because these are distinct ones. 1, 4 I can place. 2, 3 I can place. I hope all of you understood the permutations. Next, here in this, correct. So 1, 1 I can place, right? 1, 2 I can place. Another one, 1, 3 I can place. Got it? Any other case which I can place? Right. So total how many here? 6 here and 3 here.
3.
Got it? Fast. We have to do, like I said, you have to cover a lot of questions. This is 6, 7. Please try the next one. Number of halogenated number of halogenated products possible for ethane is how many? So basically, you halogenate one first with one chlorine, next with two chlorines, next with three chlorines, four chlorines, five chlorines, and finally six chlorines. Like that, if you keep halogenating, how many different alkyl halide compounds you will get? I hope you understood the question. So this question came in Olympiad once. This was asked as number of halogenated products possible in ethane. So if I place one chlorine, CH3CH3, this is the ethane structure. If I place one chlorine, I will get only one type of a structure. That's it. This is the only one possible form which you have. Now place two chlorines, 9 beta. Let me check with others also if everybody got 9 or not. 9, very good. So two chlorines, we have 1 and 1 and 1 and 2. These are the forms you can get. If you have three chlorines, what you can get? 1 comma 1 comma 1, 2 comma 2 comma, sorry, that is same, na? 1 comma 1 comma 1 comma 1 comma 2. Correct. These are the two which you can get. If you have four chlorines, I can have 1 comma 1 comma 1 comma 2, 1 comma 1 comma 2 comma 2. Right. So this is about four chlorines. These are the only two possible ones. Next, five chlorines. Only one is possible. Right. Six chlorines, only one is possible. Right. So total how many you see? One here, two here, two here, one here, and one here. So add all of them, 9. Check everyone whether you got this or not. No, any one halogen. Beta. The question was about any one halogen. Okay. Right. So these are about the structural isomers, everyone. All right. Now, before understanding conformers, got it? So we need to just know how the representation of molecule looks like. Okay, I'll just take 5 minutes, then I'll wind it up. So, in case if you have any representation of a molecule, what are the different forms we can put? Let me show that. First, let us see ethane. If at all I have to represent ethane molecule, the first form we show is molecular formula. The simplest way of representing molecular formula. How do we represent that? C2H6. This is the way we show it. Second way is empirical formula. Empirical formula. Empirical formula normally is shown this way, CH3 twice. Correct? Okay, not this arrows here. Because the general representation of empirical formula is like this only, no? If you have n, means this n represents how many times you have to multiply the empirical formula so that you can generate the molecular formula. This is one way of representing. Third way is the condensed formula. Condensed formula. Condensed formula as in you will separate out the carbons and show it like this. This is condensed form. Okay. Fourth one is bond line formula. Bond line formula. The bond line formula is like this. All right, for ethane. Fifth one is structural formula. Structural formula. Got it? Or let me add one more. Sorry, semi-condensed. Write this as semi-condensed formula. Semi-condensed as in I will show a bond between these carbons like this. This is semi-condensed. And finally, we have structural formula. In structural formula, I will show all the bonds. So depending upon the need, whether we need a condensed, if at all I'm talking more about the bonds, I might always take structural formula. If I'm talking about IUPAC, functional groups or isomerism, usually I adopt semi-condensed formula. Okay. If you're only checking out number of sigma bonds, pi bonds, then you can either go with bond line formula or structural formula. If you are discussing quantitatively how much amount of carbon hydrogen is present, then you will use empirical or molecular formula. So depending upon different forms, we will use this. Okay. Now coming ahead, what the entire chapter which we'll deal with, we will have more of 3D formulas now. So 3D formulas. Right. So in 3D formula, we will have mostly one thing that is adopted international wide is wedge and dash formula. So within this 3D formula, the ones which we adopt is wedge and dash formula. Alright, in which we'll show this way that carbon has a bond, okay, and that is connected to hydrogen like this, and the other two valencies of these two carbons will be one coming out of the plane like this, coming out of the plane H, the other one is going inside the plane. So the inside the plane one is represented with dash, outside the plane which is coming is represented with wedge. So this is wedge what I'm drawing, and this line one which I'm drawing, this is called dash. Okay, so understand this, the solid line which I'm writing, this solid line, alright, maybe I'll try to color that, this one and this one. Okay, so this solid line which I'm drawing right now here, these lines, these are in the plane beta, everyone, please don't get confused. It is, sorry, in plane or on the plane. I can write this as in plane or on the plane, which means the paper on which I'm writing this, right? So this is the paper which I'm writing. On this paper, we have this carbon, hydrogen and hydrogen. These four are on this particular paper. Second representation is about wedge or the dark form or the filled form like this. Wedge, dark form or filled form, this is towards you, which means coming out of the plane or out of the plane. So it is coming out of the plane. C, dash line, okay. Okay, this dash line form is away from you, or it is inside the plane. So anything that is going inside the plane is this one. This is outside the plane, this is coming out. These four are on the board. Everybody understood this, right? How it is to be shown? Any doubt here, you can ask me right now. Second example, if you check it for methane, methane is pretty much simple. Now I'm only adopting for 3D structure. So we'll have carbon. This is the way I can write. This is filled one. Okay, so rest all are hydrogens, CH4. So this is coming out of the plane. Got it? So this is out, this is in, this is on. On means on the plane. Okay. There are many different ways of representing that. So I can represent this in this particular format also. Like I have these two. Suppose if at all I'm viewing from this end, observe my cursor carefully. If I'm viewing from this end, from this side, if I'm viewing, all right, which means my eye is on this side here. Like this, I'm viewing. If I view it from this side, I can see that these hydrogens and this carbon are coming on one line. they all appear to be on one particular line like this. So I'll have H here, okay, and this hydrogen and this hydrogen will always appear as if they are coming towards me. So they would appear like they are coming towards me. So this is the other way of representing. This is H and H. We will give the numbering also just to not confuse with the hydrogens. This is 1, 2, 3 and 4. So I can say this is first hydrogen, second hydrogen, this is third hydrogen and fourth hydrogen. Okay. I guess all of you understood that, how I'm viewing. So when you view it from this end, this is another way of writing the three-dimensional image or three-dimensional projection. Both hydrogens, yes, from this point of view, when you are looking out, these two hydrogens will come out as wedge. Now observe these two hydrogens. How does these two hydrogens, they are going inside, na beta? So they are inside. Actually, they are not on the plane. They are going inside here. See, when you're watching from this end, these hydrogens are on the plane or they are going inside. Same way, if you watch it from this end, got it? Let's say this is where my eye is, and I'm watching from this end. Okay. So everyone, I hope you guys are able to see that. Then these two hydrogens are pointing towards me, and these two hydrogens which are on horizontal line, they are going away from me. So that I can show it as carbon with these two hydrogens which are vertically up, they are pointing towards me. These are pointing towards me. And these two hydrogens are going away. So this is that carbon 1 and 2. This is the carbon 4 and 3. It's like this. Here, there is no bond line structure existing for methane because it is single carbon. No? So tomorrow we'll start continuing with the conformers. Okay. So meanwhile, you will finish DPP1 and DPP2. I'm online right now, so I'll just come back in 5 minutes. Then we can discuss the doubts. Also complete that assignment which I've uploaded. Okay.